it's almost going in the opposite direction. I have to be so politically correct myself because if I say the wrong thing, I mean, I can't be myself because I'm going around trying to make sure that I don't offend, you know, black people, white people, Asian people. And I'm getting to a point where I'm like, okay, well, I'll just stand here and not say anything because I'll have 3 different organizations coming after me. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't fight for these rights. We should. And we should try to work towards that. But I feel like I've said before, when you've got, who's the one, he's a pastor or a reverend or something that always, like Al Sharpton or something.
Maybe.
I'm trying to remember.
Okay.
There's some form of religious leader that always shows up. And honestly, it's getting to the point where every time I see his face, I just kind of want to turn off the TV.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've heard some of the things that he said. And again, in the prime when there was a huge push, to make everything equal rights. This was well needed. But I think we get to the point where a lot of these groups get past the point where their main function is kind of not needed anymore. We're past the point, all of our schools are pretty much where they need to be. They're, everybody's kind of created equal in schools. They're created equal, and there is a little bit of racism, but I feel like they're fighting so much that it's almost like I can't be myself, or I feel a little bit, that because I'm white, if I do anything, you know what I'm saying? This makes sense, right? I'm not just babbling on about random stuff.
I mean, from my own experience, like, I've heard where you're coming. Like, I've heard this before. In some ways, I know where you're coming from on this, but I have to disagree completely. From what I've seen myself, racism is very much alive and well. It's not just a little bit. Like, we're dealing with serious issues. Like, yes, slavery is gone. Yes, we more or less, or at least to some degree, have made amends towards segregation. But again, we just mentioned gentrification in neighborhoods and stuff. Like, that's the,
Well, but that's what I'm saying. That's
child of segregation, the child or grandchild of slavery. So there's still a long way to go.
well, and I'm not saying because now we're running into, we've got the what is it called now? There used to be a Q on the end. The LGBT.
LGBTQ.
Is it Q or is it T? Because I've just heard LGBT. I've heard LGBT.
It depends. Yeah, there are a lot. For me, I think it's just easier to do just LGBTQ plus or just LGBT plus.
Anyway,
so.
But now we've got them, and they've got a good cause, and we're good. And I feel like they're kind of handing the fight over. The fight kind of needs to be handed over to them because now they have a purpose to serve. But like I said, there have been points when I felt that, how should I word this? That I'm being, I'm trying to remember how I put this. Because we've got like, I don't know. I just feel like there's points when, because I'm white,
Mm-hmm.
and or because I'm white, I don't know. Because I'm white, I don't like all of a sudden I can be racist in the flip of a hat.
Yeah.
And so now it's getting to the point where I can't do anything that I want because, or I've got to, it's like walking on eggshells anymore because I could be racist, like that. Or the race card is pulled so much, then it shouldn't be. And that's where I think we have the problem at. It's gotten to the point where, the race card is pulled so much anymore that there's 5 of them in the deck.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my big problem, is that it's always attributed to race first, rather than just, like I said, if 2 dudes got into a fight, and one of them happened to be white and one of them happened to be black, do you know who's going to get the hardest time? The guy who's white. Because if the black guy if he died, and maybe he started something, okay? That's where I'm at. I feel like it's starting to kind of reverse itself to the fact where, me being white, I can't really do anything without walking on eggshells because I could be racist in the flip of a hat. Or people pull the race card, and I'm like, I was just sitting here. I wasn't doing anything. Like there was this gentleman that walked up. I was in Walmart one day with a buddy of mine, and we were standing at the counter, and there was this guy, and he kind of looked like he was, because there was a guy talking to the guy at the gun counter. There was a guy that kind of looked like he was next to him, kind of behind him, and he kind of looked like he was with this guy. So then the first guy walked away, and my friend walked up and said, hey, can I take a look at that? And this gentleman was African American, and he automatically goes, excuse me, I was in line next. We're like, I'm sorry, we thought you were with it. He's like, is it because I'm black? And I'm like, hold up. Where did this come? I didn't say this, but where did this come from? We thought you were with this dude, and all of a sudden this race card is being pulled for no good reason whatsoever. This is where I have a problem. Do you kind of see where I'm coming from now?
Again, there are times where I'm not gonna lie, I felt that sentiment, but I have to disagree again because in that instance, okay, you didn't mean harm, but being black, like, chances are you're going to experience a great many occasions where, yes, it is about race, consciously or unconsciously. And, maybe he did jump the gun and assume that, it was the race card there. But that's almost a knee-jerk reaction, just as much as it's a knee-jerk reaction for you, where it's like, stop calling me racist. Like, it wasn't about the race cards, like, and you get defensive about it. He's defensive because he is on the opposite end of it so many times. So, like I said, I've just listened too many of my friends where it's, I guess to me the worst one where it was, I had a conversation with some of my friends one time when it was, what was the moment that you realized you were a minority, essentially? So when was that moment when you realized you were black or Asian or gay or whatever? It's like, and like I said, it's the cruelty out there is astounding still.
Well, and I mean, I hate to say this, but there's always going to be cruel people, because here's how it works. You have somebody who's racist against whatever minority, okay? They don't like them. Okay, they're automatically going to pass, a lot of them will pass that to their kids, okay? And then their kids to their kids, and their kids to their kids. Some of the diehards. And that may never go away. It's sad to say. It may not. It could, and I would be happy if it did. I would be very happy if I was in that same situation, and there was no race card anymore. It was we went in front, and he said, "I'm sorry," or he could say, "Excuse me, I was next in line." Okay, sorry, we thought you were with him. You were kind of standing next to him. Oh no, it's fine. I'd be happy in a world like that. But in my experience, because I've seen it happen. I've seen it where it's been passed down from generation to generation, and it's just, again, it's sad, but it's beliefs, it's the way people were raised. They were raised like my grandma's generation. A lot of them, a lot of older people right now are very racist, and it's because their parents were, and their parents were. That's just how it was. And yeah, we're getting to the point where, like, yeah, I'm not racist, but I also don't like the people, white or black or Asian or whatever, that sag their pants half to the ground, and think they're cool, call themselves a thug. No, because my stepbrother was like that at one point, and I said, dude, you will never be a thug. You know what I mean? So I don't like people like that. But again, there's people like that are white, black, Asian, and purple, whatever color. It's just a personality, and I don't like that kind of personality because, usually they're causing trouble. But yeah, no. So it's a generational thing, and I don't know if it'll ever completely go away. It is sad to say. Um, and I know we should all work on it, but I have seen it go down from one generation to the next. And I can see that trending down because if you've got somebody who believes this with their whole heart, as their kids are growing up, they'll be brought up in a home that believes that, and then that'll be their belief. Now it like I said, it could fade away to where, one generation goes, wait, no, no, I don't, this is not me. Okay, cool. Now we're making some progress. Um, but kind of back to the origin of this. My problem is if we can know, like, we need to be able to tell stories, whether it's about or at least explore different concepts. Okay, that's my problem is, everybody gets so defensive if we try to make a movie, an entertaining thing that we have to do is watch movies with new ideas. This is how, to me, this is a little bit how imagination dies, because if somebody goes in with this great idea, it's their life's work. They've been working their entire life on it and they just want to publish it, and somebody goes, no, that's a bad idea. It'll cause so much controversy. Well, what does it matter? Well, what does it matter? What does it harm if, because somebody doesn't like your idea, you can't put it out? If you've worked your entire life on it, if there is a group of people out there that like it, I mean, put one movie out. If the movie doesn't do good, well, you tried. Maybe there might be a group of people, but like I said, exploring different ideas, that's how we learn. That's how we grow as a society. I mean, look at how well the movie The Help was, how well accepted that was, and how well the book was accepted. And that was from a view of an African American, or from the Help's point of view. That was a movie that had never been done before. Okay, what if nobody had that idea, or what happened if that idea got shot down? Do you see what I'm saying? That's just the irritating factors that I feel like we need to be able to, with media at least, with movies, throw ideas out. Whether it's controversial or not, it should not play a role in whether a movie should be made.
Yeah.
We need to explore different aspects. We need to explore what happened if, this were to have gone this way. How would it look? Maybe, because like I said, that the one video that I watched of, what happened if the Bill of Rights was never there. That changed my perspective on the government forever. It's like I'm glad we have what we have in place. It made me learn a little bit more of it. And maybe this movie about what happens if the Confederacy won. Well, for all we know, they could make this movie, and we could still be at the same point that we are, because one of the things that the Confederacy was fighting for was slavery. But what happens if somebody in there had the idea and they won, and they're like, okay, this is not right, but these other things we want to keep. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There could be some new takes on it. I mean, if we don't have a new take on the same old idea, it's just the same old idea, and we'll never be entertained. So I don't know. I feel like if a movie's controversial or not shouldn't matter. It should matter. I mean, put one out, and if it doesn't do well, okay, that's fine. But like I said, if somebody has a different take on something, think about it. Think about it. Maybe go to the movie, give it a chance. Because I can guarantee you, if that movie is made, people go in and go, I never thought about it like that. I never thought that. You know what I mean? And that's the irritating thing, is that if movies get shut down just because it may not be politically correct, it may not be, it should, we're fighting for this, it shouldn't be this, we shouldn't be going backwards. Well, we're not going backwards. Somebody's just revisiting an old idea, or kind of, I've had the thought oftentimes, what happens if, not with this particular example, but what happens if this happened? It's kind of like the idea of every turn you make, every decision that you make in your life determines what you are. And from there could be split realities. I mean, nobody would have, I don't know, I feel like from there, scientific advances wouldn't be made that much if people's ideas were always shut down, because it's too controversial. Okay? So many years ago, there's things that we have now that were controversial several years ago, but because somebody had an idea and pushed on it, we now have something that's helped our society. So that's the whole roundabout thing, is I feel like movies should